guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, today in this channel I'm also telling about what is poetry. Okay, so now let's start. First of all, open a Play Store, Chrome, and now search here what is poetry. Okay, now in this video I'm also telling about what is poetry. Okay, so now guys, I'm on in this video I'm also telling about what is poetry. Okay, so this are taking some time, and now also in this video I'm telling about what is poetry and how it's work, each and every information shared with you about poetry. Okay, so now guys, in this video I'm also telling about what is poetry in English literature. Okay, poetry definition, type, terms, examples, and facts I'm also telling about. Okay, so now guys, let's start. Poetry literature that evokes a concentrated imaginative awareness of experience or a specific emotional response through language chosen and arranged for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. Okay, so poetry is a vast subject as old as history and older presents wherever religion is present. Possibly under some definitions, the primal and primary form of languages themselves. The present article means only to describe is an general a way as possible certain properties of poetry and of poetic thought regarded as in some sense independent modes of the mind. Naturally, not every tradition nor every local or individual variation can be or need be included, but the article illustrates by examples of poetry ranging between nursery rhyme and epic. This article considers the difficulty or impossibility of defining poetry means nevertheless familiar acquaintance with its the differences between poetry and prose, the idea of form in poetry as a mode of thought, and what little may be said in prose of the spirit of poetry. Attempts to define poetry is the other way of using language. Perhaps in some hypothetical beginning of things it was the only way of using language, or simply was language taught god, prose being the derivative and younger rival. Both poetry and language are fashionably thought to have belonged to ritual in early agricultural societies, and poetry in particular. It has been claimed arose at first in the form of magical spells recited to ensure a good harvest. Whatever the truth of this hypothesis, it blurs a useful distinction. By the time there begins to be a separate class of objects called poems, recognizable as such, these objects are no longer much regarded for their possible yum growing properties, and such magic as they may be thought capable of has retired to do its business upon the human spirit and not directly upon the natural world outside. Firmly, poetry is recognizable by its greater dependence on at least one more parameter, the line, then appears in prose composition. Okay, this changes its appearance on the page, and it seems clear that people take their cue from his change appearance. Reading poetry allow in a very different voice from their habitual voice, possibly because, as Ben Jonson said, poetry speaks somewhat about a mortal mouth. Okay, I hope you also like this video. Inshallah we will meet again. Allah Hafiz.